Okay, I finally decided to do a video about evolution. One objection I hear a lot from, particularly from young Earth creationists, is that we never see one kind of organism become another. Well, it doesn't present much of a challenge to evolution because we don't expect to see one species becoming another. We don't expect to see it. First of all, evolution takes a very long time, generally speaking. In organisms with very short generations, like bacteria and so on, we can see speciation and so on. We might not see it right before our eyes, though, and even in that case, we don't really expect to see it. But if we actually did see one thing becoming another all around us, it would actually form a pretty good objection to the theory of evolution by natural selection, at least, because the theory of evolution by natural selection requires heredity, requires that organisms, especially asexually reproducing organisms, we expect their offspring to very closely resemble their mothers, I guess you could say. I'll just say parents. We expect them to closely resemble, and it's just these very tiny point mutations and insertions and other things like that that create over a huge number of generations gradual change in the population of those organisms as a whole. But even among sexually reproducing organisms, we expect them to generally reproduce, or generally resemble their parents or parent. As many a creationist would say, dogs give birth to dogs. Evolutionists don't have a problem with that. Yes, dogs give birth to dogs. And so what they ask is, well, where does the wide variety of organisms we see come from then? The thing is that speciation depends on a lineage, each organism along that lineage strongly resembling its parents and grandparents, a lineage being cloven into two for some reason. Whether it's geography, a volcano sprouts up somewhere and they're separated geographically, or they can't move past a certain mountain, but one organism has a certain adaptation or one offspring has a certain adaptation that lets it cross the mountains. Something along those lines. Or maybe it's a point mutation that results in a change in the creature's diet, so they're hanging around different food sources, and that also can split a lineage into two. So ultimately, these lineages are split into two. They're reproducing at least a lot less with each other, if they're sexual. And so over a very large number of generations, thousands, tens of thousands, millions, millions is going a little bit far, but thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of generations, the branches will get farther and farther apart. And if you were to look at the fork in the lineage where those now two species diverged, you would see very little difference between the two lineages. One example that I'd like to use to express the problem with using this as an objection to evolution is what I call the Ford LTD of Theseus problem. When I was in college, I drove a Ford LTD station wagon, 1982 Ford LTD. It was total crap, and it broke down about every other day. And I think the mechanic at one point couldn't find a part, and he replaced a part of it with a piece of plumber's pipe or something. It was a total Frankenstein car. But imagine, if you will, a Ford LTD like that, fix a repair daily Ford LTD. and you replace the engine with, say, I'm being ridiculous here, but maybe some mechanic is enough of a genius that he could do it. Replace it with a Lamborghini engine. And would you then say that that car is a Lamborghini? Of course, most people would just say it's a Ford LTD with a Lamborghini engine. However, let's say you replace the wheels with Lamborghini wheels. Still, nobody would go for that. I don't think. They would just say it's a Ford LTD with a Lamborghini engine and Lamborghini wheels. But after enough successions of doing this, enough successive attempts at doing this, every single part of the Ford LTD is eventually and gradually replaced with Lamborghini parts. You would have to say that the end product of that is in fact a Lamborghini. So there's a category mistake involved. People will see, for example, a dog that looks a little bit different from other dogs, and they'll just call it a dog that looks a little bit different from other dogs. But ultimately, that dog is a transitional organism. It's one step in a very long chain of events that branches out all over the place, and that's basically the essence of evolution. I'd also like to use another example. This one's not actually mine, but it involves paper clips. If I drop a paper clip, do I have a pile of paper clips there? No, I don't, do I? I don't have a pile. I don't think anybody would call this a pile. Okay, if I have 2 paper clips, do I have a pile of paper clips? I still don't think anybody would call it a pile. I'll drop another one here. Do I have a pile yet? No? Okay, another one? No pile yet? Okay, another one. Keep going? Okay. Keep going? Okay. Keep going? Okay. Now do I have a pile? Okay. I have a pile now. Somebody in the back saying it's still not a pile, but I'll ignore that for the sake of this video. Okay, at what paperclip drop did this become a pile? I think various people would disagree on which drop of a paperclip this became a separate pile at. Or, I'm sorry, became a pile at. I'm mixing up my trains of thought here. And in similar fashion, if you're looking at an ancient organism whose modern ancestors are extremely different from it, it's very difficult to say at what point, say, what's a good example of this? Say, an ammonite became a nautilus, or, I don't know, synapsids became mammals. It's very difficult to pinpoint exactly when one thing became another thing. That's an issue with human categorization. We attach labels to these things, but in actuality what you've got is a continuous spectrum, and somewhere along the line you're going to have something that's in between, to varying degrees, human notions of what corresponds to one kind of organism and what corresponds to another kind of organism. So that's basically the problem with making this argument about us never seeing one kind of organism become another. It's mostly a category mistake, although it also involves mistakes involving the sheer amount of time involved in the process